What's up, everybody? My name is Justin and welcome back to another episode of Whiskey Tears. On today, we're going to be doing what is a generally new brand release. Today, I've got the First West Small Batch Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Okay, so it is a interesting bottle. I think it's like a blue tint bottle because even on the back it says something about the blue bottle. I'll read that in a second, but you can kind of see it up in the neck. I don't know how well that comes through, but yeah, up here by the cork. It's a bit of a blue tinted bottle. I'm not a huge fan of anything that blocks your view of the whiskey inside generally, but I think overall the bottle looks nice. I think that blue tint might make it look a little bit darker in the bottle than it actually is. But there's a ton of stuff going on both the front and the back label here. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, blended with our own proprietary corn bourbons for improved flavor. Crafted by 15 Stars, Bardstown, Kentucky, coming in at 102 proof, a blend of 25 barrels or less of Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, including heritage red, white, and blue corn bourbon for extra flavor. This bourbon celebrates the enduring sense of adventure and discovery in Kentucky, America's First West. Historic blue bottle. The historic blue bottle is inspired by early Kentucky artisans and the first bottles for whiskey ever produced in Kentucky, yada, yada, yada. So it's a blend of 5, 6, and 7-year-old bourbon from Kentucky with different corns in it in a blue bottle at 102 proof. All right, I have not had anything from them before. Let's go ahead and pop the top, get the nosing straight out of the bottle. By the way, I think this was $55 at the Virginia ABC. Got when we were on our trip down visiting the A. Smith Bowman distillery. Picked this up instead of getting the single barrel. Technically $5 cheaper, and it's one I don't have. So I'd always prefer to get one I don't have over something I do have so that I can add to my collection, try something new unless it's something that I really, really want. So here we go, nosing out of the glass. Definitely sweet. Sweet corn. Sweet corn with a little barrel char on there maybe. What's going to be interesting is once I pour it out of this blue bottle here, what is the color actually going to be in the glass? All right, it's not too bad. It's not overly dark, but it's also not overly light, so I guess that's good. Let's see if this blue bottle starts showing through a little bit more. Yeah, you can see that blue bottle showing through a little bit more now. So I think this will probably look cool on the shelf once you get it drank down a little bit more and that blue kind of shines through. It'll probably stick out a little bit, plus it's got all the fancy ribbing and everything on the side there. So overall, I think it's a pretty good looking bottle, but that really doesn't matter a lot. What matters mostly is what's inside. Is it any good? But before we get into that, do me one big favor. Hit like, hit subscribe on the video, and if you really want to help the channel and support me, hit the join button down below. Now I have 2 options out there. One's only $2 a month if you just want to help support the channel, be able to buy more bottles to review here. The other is $15, but with that you get a quarterly nice sample of whiskey sent to you, including in your very first month of subscribing. So if you want to try that out, get something cool sent to you, as long as you're 21 years of age, make sure you check that join button down below. All right, here we go. The nosing of the First West Small Batch out of the glass this time. Okay, that has changed a good bit from what I was getting in the bottle. That's changed a good bit immediately, right off the bat. What is that note? It's definitely corn. Still that sweet corn on there, but there's something else that I'm picking up that I haven't quite zeroed in on yet. I think it's sweet corn and maybe a hint of like a pink bubble gum scent on the nose. That's what I keep coming back to, and I keep second guessing myself on that's it. But if I keep thinking it, that's probably what the note is I'm getting on the nose. So it's like a very sweet corn, a little bit of that sweet pink bubblegum smell. Maybe like some graininess in there as well. Some graininess and a hint of that barrel char, maybe a hint of caramel in the background. So it's intriguing. It smells interesting, I think. I don't know what the flavor profile is going to come through. Is it going to be something I like? 5, 6, 7 years old. Who knows what percent of what year age is in there. But for the price, I mean, that's like pretty much spot on for the price of that aged whiskey. So 102 proof. Here we go. Cheers, everybody. Okay, if you guys are new here, first thing I like to do when I sip something new is just think about, did I like that? Was it good? Did I enjoy that sip? And I did. I enjoyed that first sip. So now that we are one sip in, let's try and break this thing down a little bit, see if we can get the flavor notes. It hits you with, right up front, a big blast of like brightness is my best way of describing this. It's like super bright up front before it transitions a little bit and pretty quickly into a little bit of barrel char, actually surprisingly on there, but super bright up front. I've just got to kind of lock down what that note is up front that's super bright, but it transitions into like a vanilla-y, barrel char-y ness on the end. Not overly viscous, doesn't last overly long. Finish is kind of, I think it just fades out a little bit. There's not really much of a finish, I would say. It's definitely more of a bam, hits you right off the bat and then just kind of fades out from there. But let's see if I can lock down here what those notes are up front. Here, you wanna, what's it smell like to you?
Sharpie.
Sharpie? Okay, that is a note that a lot of people get sometimes if you watch other channels. Not one I get often, but you know, I can actually see him saying Sharpie now that I've smelled it again. I can actually see it a little bit, so good job. It's just like a bright, corny spiciness up front that transitions into a barrel char vanilla, and then it kind of just quickly fades out from there. I'm really struggling to come up with what that brightness is up front. I wish I had a better way of describing it so far than bright, because that's not really a flavor note, but it just hits you with that brightness. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I'm gonna go with, surprisingly. I just can't quite lock down an actual flavor note for that brightness that I'm getting up front. It is sweet, it is like bright, and I like, you wanna say citrusy, but it almost feels not quite citrusy because it's got that spiciness to it. And maybe it's just the weird corn variety that they use, those 3 different types of corns, I guess, maybe that they use that's giving it that unique profile. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and rate this thing on the tier system today. This is how I rate everything on the channel. If you guys are new here, and there's tiers within tiers, and obviously it's all subject to my own palate, my own taste, my likes, my dislikes, but I have done several hundred bottles at this point. So take it or leave it for what it's worth. One last sip and I'll rate it on the tier system. I mean, it's decent, it's interesting. It does fade pretty quickly, but for the price, I'd say it's pretty good. I don't think there's anything like superb about it, but I'm not also sitting here like picking out things that are not so good about it. Mostly just trying to figure out what the heck is going on here. So yeah, it's decent. For me today, it's officially gonna go on the C tier, right where it should be, I think, especially at that price level. Cool looking bottle. Don't generally love when it covers some of what the whiskey actually looks like, but I don't think I have any other bottle in my collection that has a blue tint to it. So that's something new. Let me know. Have you guys had this? Let me know what you've gotten out of it in the comments down below, especially if you can maybe pinpoint to me what that bright note is up front, because I just couldn't get there. Maybe the first time ever I haven't come up with what that note actually tastes like to me. But hey, several hundred bottles in, I guess there's a first for everything. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you for your next drink.